Greetings all, and wow, this is the second one I've recorded today. Um, I finally did get someone who made a comment, finally making a request. And this goes out to F you bloody moron. That is the guy's name. I'm not making that up. I'm not insulting the guy. That's his actual comment name. Um, all I can say is, if he wants some of the stuff, mostly I worked on casual games. I've talked about that in a number of my other posts. I did work on a My Little Pony game. I've worked on an MMO. Some of the stuff I'm actually still under contract, so I can't give out a lot of information. And I used to. This was several years ago. Now I'm a teacher. I teach game design. F you bloody moron. So that's what I do now. I'm a teacher now. I used to be a game designer. I'm not anymore. Um, and he's requested a topic. He has requested My Little Pony, and being that I have worked on a My Little Pony title before, I guess I'm able to talk about this topic. Oh my god, I know my students are gonna find this someday, and they're gonna call me to task on this. But okay, he wants me to discuss My Little Pony. Alright, My Little Pony as a intellectual property actually has a high degree of value because it is loved by kids. Little girls go crazy for My Little Pony. And back in the 80s, when My Little Pony was big, I know more than a few guys who actually watched it, more than a few male kids who watched it, because, it was a cartoon back then. And back then, people didn't really care too much about this is this. And the series actually wasn't bad for its time. I had to do a lot of research when I was working on it. First of all, it actually does have a storyline. Sorry, answering an email. It does actually have a storyline. At least the movie did, which is what I based a lot of my research on. In the movie, the storyline is there is a female farmhand named Megan who is a friend of the ponies, and they're getting their butts kicked by an evil black kind of sludgy stuff that's flooding everything, and the entire idea is they want to get together to form the Rainbow of Light. So we have a common theme that pops up in a lot of video games, a lot of movies, a lot of anime. And the common theme pretty much is we need the mystical item of plot device. They have to go on an adventure to gather the mystical item of plot device, and predictably, when they go to utilize the mystical item of plot convenience, it appears not to work. However, through the power of hope and belief, the magical plot device of convenience rips itself free and lays waste to all. That's pretty much in a nutshell one of the basic tenets of it. He wants to know what I think of My Little. Jeez. Okay. What else do I remember from it? First of all, there were different races of ponies, so you actually had like different racial classes, which would have been funny. I always thought, I always joked and said I'd like to do like a first-person shooter My Little Pony, and I pitched that. And they looked at me funny because, obviously this is a property that's not built for that kind of thing. I still say I could make a My Little Pony first-person shooter, and it would be fucking awesome. But they did not, let me do it. As far as it goes, you had like unicorn ponies who were unicorns and not ponies, but they were still part of the IP. You had Pegasuses, Pegasi maybe. They had wings; they could fly around. The interesting thing was both the unicorn ponies and then the Pegasus ponies had unique abilities. The unicorn ponies, for example, could teleport with the power of their horns, which were obviously magical. Interestingly enough, I do seem to recall from the property that if they lost their horn, they started to die. That was like a big thing. If you broke your horn, you were in deep shit. There were Pixie Ponies, which were basically little tiny ponies with pixie wings, and otherwise they were identical to Pegasus ponies and their abilities, though I think they could sprinkle fairy dust, which had magical properties. You had the regular ponies, which were kind of shafted. They didn't do a whole lot but run around frolic and, protest the power of evil by, combating it with love and hope and friendship. There were mermaid ponies. They were like seahorses. Bo, badoom, choom. Bad pun, but yeah, there were like seahorses. Um, there were no robot ponies. I think that would have been cool. Like cyber ponies running around with laser beam vision. That would be kind of cool. Um, Spin-offs. My Little Pony's been spoofed a number of times. My personal favorite is from Robot Chicken. They did a skit called The Apocalypse Ponies, which was rather amusing, and I want to be Death Pony because Death Pony was awesome. So there I go. This is a request to, not a request, this is a response to the request of F You Bloody Moron, as the name of the poster, who said, you're a game designer, what games have you designed? Anywho, I want to hear about what you have to say about My Little Pony, so I've listed kind of what I worked on. At least I've kind of gone over the kind of stuff I've worked on, like I said. And you want to hear what I had to say about My Little Pony. So that's what I have to say about My Little Pony. It's an interesting intellectual property. It's lucrative. It's not as bad as people seem. And then also, when we talk about game design, at the very least, when we talk about game design, at the very least, we have to say that no property is without merit. My Little Pony, like the stuff I worked on was all educational based for My Little Pony. It was an entertainment title. But if I can use a property like My Little Pony to get some 6-year-old girl to be interested in reading, then I've done my job, honestly. And anything that can help educate kids and get them into reading or math or expanding their mind, I think is a good thing. And also, the series, at least to kids back in the 80s, taught a lot of family and moral values. It really did. It taught people not to... it taught kids not to judge based on appearance. It taught kids, fundamental moral lessons. Don't give up, always try again. Just because something seems hard, keep at it. It told kids, don't cheat, don't try to take shortcuts. It showed consequences for these actions, and I think that's a good thing. So my thoughts on My Little Pony is it was an intellectual property. It helped a lot of kids, kind of taught a lot of kids things. Some of the actions of the characters were very role model-ish, and yeah, they were immature, but it was a kid's show. I mean, what do you really expect? But when it gets right down to it, it's just as viable and just as important as anything else. I mean, G.I. Joe was a kid's show. And now look, it's a massive movie coming out. A lot of things, like that get kind of overlooked, and especially young game designers. I've seen it. Young game designers kind of sit back and they're like, I don't want to work on anything unless it's a serious game. Man, games have to be made for everyone. Everyone needs games to play, and it doesn't matter if it's a 24-year-old guy who wants to blow stuff up in Halo, or a 6-year-old girl who just wants to learn her ABCs. It's still viable, and it's still important, and it's still game design, and there's no shame in working on a property like that. And anyone who thinks there is obviously doesn't know what it's like to be a game designer. So that's it. That is my response to F You Bloody Moron, who was the person who sent this request to me. And no, he didn't. His name wasn't F You Bloody Moron. It was, the fully spelled out. I'm trying not to swear, even though I think I've said the F word several times in this topic. But that is my comments and thoughts on, I guess, My Little Pony. That it has educational value, it has moral value. It was an animated series that children can relate to. It's a valuable property, and I hope one day someone does a first-person shooter with cyber ponies that shoot laser beams out of their eyes, because that would be awesome. And with that, I sign off. Anyone who wants to try to name the next topic, post a reply in this message, and I'll get back to you about it. All right, everyone, have a good day. Enjoy your weekend.